In downtown Port Arthur, Texas, a 6-story brick giant stands silent. The Port Arthur World Trade Building, originally known as the Adams Building, looms like a ghost from another era. Its exterior is adorned with faded Beaux-Arts touches. Ornate balconies cling near the top floors, and classical cornices weathered by time. Once, this edifice was the pride of a booming oil town. Now, its facade crumbles, and the building sits derelict behind chain-link fences. The empty halls and boarded-up windows whisper of past grandeur, even as dust motes dance in streaks of sunlight slicing through the shattered glass. This is a tale of ambition, decline, and rebirth. The story of the Port Arthur World Trade Building. The Adams Building was born of Roaring Twenties optimism. Construction began in the mid-1920s, 1924 to be exact, spearheaded by a local entrepreneur named John R. Adams, at a cost of about $750,000. A staggering $12.7 million today, considering inflation. Adams erected one of Port Arthur's first skyscrapers, clad in brick and ornamented with terracotta flourishes. The building's design reflected the popular Beaux-Arts style of the day. It towered 6 stories above the port city streets, a symbol of Port Arthur's explosive growth fueled by oil and global trade. From the day it opened its doors in 1926, the Adams Building buzzed with commerce and professional life. Its offices filled with doctors, lawyers, insurance agents, and various businesses that served the thriving community. The lobby welcomed clients with marble and woodwork, as locals recall, and an early elevator whisked folks to upper floors. Port Arthur itself was on the rise. The population was booming, and downtown streets bustled with department stores, hotels, theaters, and cafes. The Adams Building quickly became a centerpiece of this growth, a hub of ambition in a city on the make. John R. Adams, a ship chandler and even a former vice consul in the port, envisioned his namesake building as a gateway to global commerce. In many ways, the structure embodied Port Arthur's aspirations to be an international port city. By mid-century, the building's profile evolved along with the town. In the 1960s, owners gave it a lofty new name, the Port Arthur World Trade Building. The rechristening, formalized around 1971, was an optimistic bid to attract international business and reflect Port Arthur's port-side importance. For a time, the World Trade Building remained an impressive address. Its fine architectural details and prominent location a testament to the city's past prosperity. Men in dark suits once stood on its balconies, smoking cigars as they surveyed the bustling streets below, confident in Port Arthur's future. The building had become a proud landmark in the skyline, second home to the city's movers and shakers. Yet, as the decades wore on, Port Arthur's fortunes changed. The late 20th century brought economic downturns, industrial accidents, and shifts in commerce that hollowed out downtown. Shiny new malls and suburban development lured businesses and shoppers away from Proctor Street and Austin Avenue. By the 1980s, many of the grand old buildings, including the World Trade Building, lost their tenants. The surrounding streets went quiet, A local observer described how downtown once thrived with department stores, office buildings, hotels, restaurants, and nightclubs, but eventually faded into emptiness. After annual Mardi Gras festivities injected brief life, the area would return to its vacant ambiance. The World Trade Building, like a number of Port Arthur's historic structures, slipped into decline alongside the city's economic slide. Inside, the Adams Building slowly succumbed to disrepair. Long years of vacancy invited moisture, mold, and vandals. Plaster ceilings fell in chunks, paint peeled from walls in strips. Pigeons roosted in the rafters of the once elegant offices. On the exterior, time and weather were even less kind. At some point in the mid-century, a modern facelift had added metal panels over parts of the facade. But neglect and storms soon had their say. When a powerful hurricane slammed into Port Arthur, locals recall Hurricane Rita in 2005, followed by Ike in 2008. The old building took a beating. The raging winds ripped away flimsy cladding and fake facades, exposing the original 1920s brickwork and ornamentation that had been hidden for decades. It was as if the storm was peeling back time. Beneath the broken panels emerged weathered but dignified architectural details, a reminder of the elegance that once was. Yet the damage was severe. Stucco skin fell from the building like old wallpaper, and slabs of concrete and rebar crashed onto the sidewalk below. In response, authorities did the only thing they could. They cordoned off the area with yellow tape to keep pedestrians safe from the building's shedding exterior. The proud World Trade Building had become a public hazard. For many years thereafter, the Adams Building stood abandoned and forlorn, a hulking shell with a perilous facade. Weeds sprouted from its concrete ledges. Many of its tall windows were shuttered or dark, giving it the appearance of hollow eyes watching over an empty downtown. The structure was now just a decaying monument, but one that couldn't easily be erased. Because of its historical designation, city officials were barred from simply demolishing it, even when it stood vacant and deteriorating. So, the building lingered on in limbo, too important to tear down, too expensive at the time to save. Locals grew used to its brooding presence. In fact, the decay went on for so long that few people even noticed it anymore. The crumbling World Trade Building just blended into the backdrop of the struggling city. Occasionally, the old building drew attention from dreamers and developers. In 2008, talk arose of converting the derelict high-rise into a 170-unit apartment complex, part of an effort to revitalize Port Arthur's core. An observer that year called it an impressive structure with fine architectural details, poised hopefully for a second act. But those plans fizzled out with the financial situation of the time and other hurdles. By the 2010s, the Adams Building remained empty, its damaged interior even visible from an open doorway on the street, where passers-by could glimpse crumbling columns and dusty gloom inside. Other historic neighbors, like the Grand Hotel Sabine, faced similar abandonment. Port Arthur's downtown was caught in a despairing freeze frame, awaiting rescue. Today, at long last, the story of the Port Arthur World Trade Building is taking a turn toward revival. In 2019, the oil company Motiva Enterprises, operator of Port Arthur's massive refinery, purchased the long-abandoned Adams Building and a nearby Federal Building that I also filmed, with a vision to restore them to glory. After decades of darkness, the sound of construction has returned to the old halls. Motiva, in partnership with the Texas Historical Commission, is undertaking a painstaking restoration to return the structure to its 1920s splendor. Experts have studied old photographs and architectural plans. Even the paint colors and terracotta materials are being carefully matched to the original era. Structural engineers have reinforced beams and repaired concrete columns from the ground up, making the building sound and safe again. Scaffolding now wraps the exterior as workers replace or rehabilitate each decorative element by hand. What was once falling apart is being rebuilt piece by piece, with an aim to make the edifice look as it did 100 years ago. If all goes according to plan, the former World Trade Building will soon hum with life once more. By the end of 2025, Motiva expects to move employees and office furniture into the completed building. The grand old structure will serve as the company's downtown offices, bringing an estimated 500 workers into the heart of Port Arthur. City leaders are hopeful this will be a catalyst for broader revitalization. Filling this building with people again could spark new restaurants, shops, and foot traffic on streets long left quiet. The key is to get buildings in use and people here, one city official explained, and the commerce will follow. Indeed, Motiva's investment is more than just an office move. It's a bet on Port Arthur's future, honoring the city's heritage while igniting fresh economic energy. As we conclude this tale, picture the transformation. The Port Arthur World Trade Building, once a derelict relic, now being reborn as a beacon of renewal. Its brick walls, which have witnessed a century of booms and busts, will soon echo with footsteps and voices once again. The storyteller in the walls seems to breathe a sigh of relief. From ambitious origins, through decades of decay, to the brink of a new life, the saga of the Adams Building reflects the resilient spirit of Port Arthur itself. What was old shall be new again, and an architectural phoenix will rise from the Gulf Coast sun, ready to watch over downtown's next chapter.